It was a quiet afternoon when Sarah decided to rummage through the attic for some old photo albums, but what she found wasn't a trip down memory lane. Buried under a pile of dusty curtains, she uncovered an ancient Bible, seemingly forgotten for decades. A strange instinct urged her to open it. Tucked between its fragile pages was a brittle, yellowed newspaper clipping, heavy with secrets. The headline screamed, "Mystery surrounding the disappearance of twin newborns at General Hospital." Sarah's heart pounded, her hands trembling as she read on. 30 years ago, two baby girls, labeled Baby A and Baby B, had vanished under suspicious circumstances. A nurse was accused of trafficking infants to wealthy families, but the case was closed for lack of evidence. Sarah bolted down the stairs, the crumpled clipping clutched in her hand. Laura was laughing with Emma and Liam in the living room, but her smile faded when she saw Sarah's face. "We were stolen," Sarah whispered. "This article, it proves everything." David, ever the calm one, stepped forward. "We need the truth, a DNA test, to confirm and to seek justice." The DNA results came back quickly. Laura and Sarah were 99.9% identical, undeniable proof they were twins. But a bigger shock was waiting. The lab technician, an older man with kind eyes, hesitated as he handed Laura the results. "There's something else," he said. "Your DNA doesn't fully match the woman you call your mother." That night, the house was shrouded in heavy silence. Laura sat on the edge of her bed, the DNA report in hand, the words blurring through her tears. Mary, the woman who had raised her, scolded her, loved her, wasn't her biological mother. Sarah couldn't sleep either, consumed by pain and confusion. The next morning, Laura didn't wait. She marched into Mary's room, Sarah quietly trailing behind. Mary was sitting by the window, cradling an untouched cup of tea. Her eyes met Laura's, then Sarah's, and she knew. Without a question, tears streamed down her face. "I knew this day would come," she whispered, her voice trembling. "I couldn't keep it hidden forever." 30 years ago, Mary was a young nurse at the hospital. She'd witnessed countless joys and tragedies, but nothing broke her heart like that night. A young woman from a powerful family gave birth to twins in agony. She was too young, alone, and didn't survive the delivery. No one came for the baby girls. Their family abandoned them. The hospital planned to turn them over to the authorities, facing a cold, uncertain future. "I couldn't let that happen," Mary said, choking back sobs. "I wanted to save you." She confessed to taking baby A, Laura, and raising her as her own. But before she could return for baby B, Sarah, another nurse with sinister intentions, took the infant. Later, Mary learned that nurse was part of a child trafficking ring. Sarah had been sold to a wealthy family. "Every birthday I felt the guilt," Mary cried. "I told myself not knowing was better." Sarah stood frozen. The woman who raised her in a small town wasn't her real mother. Her name, her identity, it was all a lie. But then she felt Laura's hand grasp hers. No words, just fingers intertwined, as if they'd always belonged together. "We'll find our real family," Laura said, her voice resolute. Laura and Sarah set off for a big city, armed with an old address from hospital records Mary had hidden. The sprawling mansion, with its gleaming iron gates, radiated wealth and secrets. The gatekeeper eyed them suspiciously, but when Sarah stepped forward, he froze. "Miss Elizabeth's face," he muttered. The name Elizabeth sent a shiver through Laura. It was the name of the mother they'd never known. The gatekeeper opened the gates without another word. The path to the mansion felt like a dream, each step stirring unspoken questions. A maid opened the door, but before she could speak, an elegant elderly woman with silver hair swept into the room. Her gaze locked on Sarah, then Laura, and she burst into tears. Not fear, but recognition. "My grandchildren," she cried, rushing to embrace them. "They told me you died with my daughter." She was Margaret, their grandmother. She explained that Elizabeth, her daughter, had fallen in love with a man the family disapproved of. Pregnant at 17, she was sent away to give birth in secret. Elizabeth died during childbirth, and their grandfather, a powerful businessman, erased all traces. He declared Elizabeth and her babies dead to protect the family's reputation. Margaret had lived 3 decades in grief, believing she'd lost everything. Laura and Sarah found peace, like gentle morning sunlight after a storm. On a crisp morning, they stood before Elizabeth's small grave, shaded by vibrant flowering trees, holding white lilies. "We found each other," Laura whispered, tears streaming down her face. "And we won't lose each other again." Sarah nodded, squeezing her sister's hand. "We're home." David stood with Emma and Liam, his eyes misty with pride. From a simple decision to hire a housekeeper, they'd uncovered buried secrets, reclaimed a stolen legacy, and built an unbreakable bond. Laura and Sarah didn't stop at finding each other. They founded a nonprofit to help missing or trafficked children. They spoke on television, worked with lawmakers, and helped reunite over 200 families in 5 years. On their 35th birthday, the sisters stood hand in hand on a stage, in front of a statue of Elizabeth, a symbol of their mother's sacrifice and the hope they brought to others. The next day's headlines read, "Stolen Sisters Rewrite Their Destiny." No matter how dark the past, light always finds a way. No matter how stolen or separated, what belongs to you will find its way back. Fate wrote Laura and Sarah's story, and no human plan could erase it.